On this episode of Abby Normal Garage, we cover 2 car shows. We first start out with the first annual Chessie C&O Railroad Historical Society Car Show in Clifton Forge. This event was well attended with 60 vehicles. We decided to bring the Camaro, the trailer, and the trail horse to this one. This event was put on by the C&O Historical Society. It combines trains and cars. The only thing it's missing is airplanes. Our car club also sponsored this event. We had a really good time with this one, although it was hot as can be. Fortunately, the inside of the museum is air conditioned. Well, let's dive right into the cars. I really like the red on this one. Looks pretty good with them swooping fenders and headlights and so forth. Looks like we got a beautiful General Lee. Believe it or not, the doors are actually welded shut on this car. I watched the guy climb out through the window when I was driving the little train. It probably has a lot to do with this is actually a Crown Vic with Dodge Charger sheet metal on it. But anyway, it's cool. I like this blue truck. They ought to bring this style of truck back. 1973 Challenger. Nice. Little red Corvette. We got parked next to this beautiful truck. We got the Camaro, the trailer, and the trail horse in the trailer. We even decided to bring the Abby Normal Garage Easy up. And the stunt dog. We rode out with this guy, with his beautiful Camaro. Certainly his pride and joy. I haven't seen this one in a while. That's pretty cool. Here we have A&D Hot Rod Shop. I haven't really seen them since MDA. Here we have the nothing fancy Ford Ranger with his stunt dog in the window. It's pretty cool. Well, now we segue into the train related footage. The first thing I wanted to do was go on board this locomotive and see what kind of trouble I could get into. There was no door on this side, so we'll jump over to the other side. As walking towards the door, I saw the sign on the door, and I said, well, let me go open this up and take a look. Okay, what do we have in here? This looks like an EMD. Probably a 16-cylinder. You can see the manual throttle level right in front of you. Here we have buttons, I believe, to prime and crank the engine. Pretty neat. Not really a lot to see though. You'd think there'd be more to look at. I thought this sign was a little interesting. Well, let's try to get in the cab of this thing. And the door's locked. Of course. Well, after walking around, getting down, and climbing back up, we finally made it into this thing. This thing's in pretty good shape. They've done a good job preserving it. I'm a little surprised at how simple the controls are. Like, you would think there'd be a little bit more to this than just these couple levers. Obviously, this is an old CSX unit, because I saw CSX on the radio. But yeah, it looks like you pretty much will do everything with these 3 levers. I believe that's the horn with the red knob. Well, we didn't have the only tractor at the show. We might have started a trend with that. Here's a nice Pontiac Chieftain. Nice cat eye Chevy. And here's this wonderful T-Bird for sale. It could be yours. But we're going to go ahead and head on inside and cool off. It was pretty hot. Always like these railroad signal lanterns. I got a few of them myself. They've got pretty good displays in here illustrating the history of the C&O Railroad. They had several large-scale steam locomotive models. Now, I thought this train set was cool. It had models of various facilities that used to be on the C&O's route. On the other side, there's models of a lot of the local train stations. This is what the original passenger train station in Clifton Forge looked like. I think that's a hotel as well, but I'm not too sure. The first railroad car we check out is this steel caboose. I've always wanted to check one of these out because we have a wooden caboose here on the homestead that needs some work. These metal ones are real nice and clean looking. It honestly feels like it's got more space in it. This is a 1968 model. The one we have, I believe, is 1929. Obviously, by this time, the old wood stoves are out. They went to oil-fired. These cupolas don't seem nearly as high as ours, but they stick past the side, so maybe that's why. This was another car that I hadn't really seen. This is a combi car, or a combination. The front half of this car is for passenger travel, and the back half is for their luggage. It features a bathroom with a toilet and a sink, a water fountain, a couple rows of seats, and the back half is for cargo once you go through this door. Now we walk into the Gadsby's Tavern. This is the meal car. You walk through this narrow passageway, and the kitchen is actually on the other side of this wall, which we'll see here in a second. This has a pretty well-equipped kitchen. We move back into the dining hall. This looks fairly luxurious. It would be neat to eat here. I'm sure it goes without saying, but I don't think Amtrak has anything on this. I thought this was interesting, and I think it's on the dining car, but this has a generator mounted under the car, and it's driven off the tracks. Here we have a GP7 with the club's banner hanging on it. On the back side, we have the old 614. This came from the Greenbrier. This is a pretty neat steam locomotive. I remember reading an article about how it needed extensive restoration to run again, and I could see why. There were some spots that didn't look so great, but it's pretty cool to see. The next shot you'll see, we'll be walking inside the compartment. This is a more modern steam engine, so it's a little bit more simplified, but not too much. This one has the automatic feeder you can see in the center of the floor feeding into the firebox. We'll go ahead here and take a look at that. I've never really looked into the firebox in one of these. I'm a little surprised that the bottom is a grate. I guess that helps with draft. Here we are sitting behind the control center of this thing. It's a little bit more complicated than the diesel, but man, I bet you that view is cool when you're going down the track. Well, let's take a quick look into the hopper car of this thing, and we'll get a shot of the miniature train, and then we're moving on to the John Henry Day show in Talcott, West Virginia. Here we are pulling out of the Go Mart in Covington. We met up with our car club there. The plan was to ride out together, but I got separated by traffic. And they must be listening to Larry Helms or something, because they're poking along going 55 and a 70. We just can't do that. It's a little over an 80-mile drive to Talcott from my house, so we ran about 70, 75 the whole way. This Camaro tows great. We only came out of fifth gear one time, so if this 383 is any indication of how the 408 we're going to build for the truck's going to be, we're going to be golden. Well, anyway, we'll see you there. Welcome, welcome. This is John Henry Memorial Park in Talcott, West Virginia. This is the site of his legendary battle with the steam drill. This event was well attended, with over 150 cars. The only thing that made it bad was it was over 100 degrees, or at least it felt that way. We spent most of our time hiding under our Easy Up, drinking water bottles. I know a lot of people go for that super shine, but there's just something cool about these rat rods. The more you look at them, the more details you see. Thought this was the lone wolf for a second. It's days like this that we really like our Easy Up. This Tri-5 is real nice. Here we have two local cars. Here's a Veloster and Bad Tang. Oh yes, this is a beautiful truck. I love the color and everything. Here we have a nice GTX. We saw these two at the Children's Miracle Network car show in Lewisburg a couple weeks ago. This is probably the oldest vehicle here. I believe it was a 1916, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Comment below if you know. There was quite a selection of motorcycles here. Husband and wife ended up winning first and second place. We saw this beautiful 68 Charger at the Chessie show. Turns out that it is not a 68 Charger. It is a Crown Vic. That surprised many people. Here we have our friends over at Cars Unlimited. They're the other car group in Covington. And I see Ricky decided to bring out the Rude Rat again. Here's our group, the Allegheny Cruisers. We had a couple members show up with their cars. We even had a trike in attendance. That's pretty cool. Here we have two beautiful 69 Chevelles. The one with the red stripe won top 40. The one with the white stripe was Club's choice. The folks that put this show on put us in the corner. We didn't want to unhook the trailer or even unload the tractor, but that became less optional as time went on. Obviously, we have the coolest tractor here, although the judges didn't seem to think so. Here we have a setup for a hard-working person. I always think it's funny that hard-working people mostly drive Fords. Oh yes, this car is fire. Check out this awesome 1980 Camaro Z28. This one looks sharp. For all you swingers out there, we got this beautiful Dodge Dart Swinger in lime green. a shadowy flight into the world of a man who does not exist. That's all I can think every time I see one of these. Here we have another beautiful Dodge Dart Swinger, this one in this brilliant white. Well, this about wraps up our coverage of the 2024 John Henry Days Car Show in Talcott, West Virginia. This show is actually part of a larger festival that happens all weekend. Of course, we would only go up for the car show. There'll be another show at this venue. The third week of August, I believe, the Talcott Fire Department does their show here. But anyway, feel free to like the video. Share it with any of your car enthusiast friends. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And we'll see you on the next episode of Abby Normal Garage.